sport when it's sunny and 75. So what grinds my gears is having to sound like get off my lawn guy all the time. Is it just me? Maybe I'm the idiot. Please let me know. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to an early Tuesday edition of The Rome Show, broadcasting live on YouTube, Twitter X, Instagram, and Facebook. I'm your host, Andrew Romanella. I got you for the next 20 minutes, slightly shortened show today, so we can get out to the baseball field and do our thing, but that does not mean that we are not going to jam-pack the information for the people. We're talking World Cup. We got your updates, some, I guess we should call them upsets yesterday. We'll talk about that. The PGA Travelers Championship had their extra hole yesterday, and it only ended up being one hole playoff because Scotty Scheffler missed a putt from about 7 feet to stay alive and force a second hole playoff. Victor Hovland, the winner there. We have that video for you and some more Major League Baseball stats and information. The facts are the facts, people. We are trending towards the middle of the summer, which means a lot of baseball, a lot of it. So we'll give you your daily updates so you know where to put your bananas on the regular. The Rome Show 1, Twitter X, and Instagram. That's The Rome Show. Then the number 1, Facebook.com/The Rome Show, YouTube.com/The Romanella. Scan that QR code. Top right corner, YouTube.com/The Romanellas on the hunt for 100 subscribers. See Meg's in the comments section. Meg, great to see you again. We missed you. Hopefully you're enjoying the World Cup down under. I appreciate this is a new Centenary Baseball short sleeve hoodie that I'm going to rep out today, which I'm really fired about. You want to get in on the action? Instagram, Twitter X, YouTube, your call. Time for your World Cup dates. All right, let's get started with a little Germany, 4-time defending FIFA World Cup champion. Now, they won it in 2014, haven't been past the group stage in the last 2 World Cups, got back into the knockouts in 2026, just to lose to Paraguay in heartbreaking fashion during penalty kicks. But that does not tell the whole story, because in extra time, Germany presumably took the lead 2-1 on track to potentially a round of 32 victory. However, VAR says there was a penalty on the play. Why don't you be the judge and listen and take a look for yourself? And the second broadcaster said it, and I could not agree more. It seemed to me, though, by definition of the rule, the contact on the goalie now could potentially become a foul. That's not going to allow the goalie to try and attempt to make a save. When I watch that replay right there, okay, and I will replay it for you right now without the sound on so I can go over the audio. I have it paused right here, all right, and you can see the goalie and the player fighting, okay? Not fighting in terms of like, oh, there looks like a lot of pushing and shoving, fighting for position, but look at every player on the field. It's exactly the same. Now, unfortunately for Germany, this guy is contacting the goalie, which really starts to bring a gray area. We see this in ice hockey all the time. So, from here, watch the movement from the goalkeeper and the player on Germany. There's the contact. Okay, you can see the contact, and that is, I'm sorry, right there, it's automatically a flop. Therefore, in my opinion, incidental contact or no call. We have to call this goal back off because that contact did not give the goalie the appropriate chance to block the ball. Well, if the goalie didn't try and flop to draw that call in the first place, he would have had the appropriate opportunity to be standing there and not be on the ground. I understand the rule. And having talking to my brother-in-law last night and talking to a few other people, you could interpret this every single way. And by definition of the rule, by one little bit of contact happening, you could see why this would be called a foul against Germany. But if you watch that replay, layman's eye tells you that guy flopped. That goalie, and you know what? Kudos to him, because it was a very soccer IQ play that worked out for his team. And then he went and backed it up in PKs as Paraguay goes on to the round of 16. Think about the tournament for Paraguay real quick, okay? Started this thing with a 4-1 loss to the United States of America, okay? That's how their tournament started. A 4-1 loss, the biggest victory in like the World Cup history for USA, came at the hands of Paraguay to start this tournament. And then 105 minutes into the knockout round, which you barely got into because you took the third place, let's roll, you find yourself giving up potentially the game winner. It gets called back because of VAR, and then you win in PKs. What a crazy tournament. From the lowest of lows to the highest of highs for Paraguay. Pretty awesome stuff. In another, I don't know if stunning is the right call, but very exciting game last night between Netherlands and Morocco. Netherlands supposed to be the better team between the two. Morocco played the better football last night. If you watched another game that went into PKs, all what felt like 130 minutes of that game prior to the PKs, there was a lot of control on the ball from Morocco. There was a lot better energy. Actually, the broadcast said it. It feels like the Netherlands is playing this game to not lose, whereas Morocco is playing this game to win. The game last night, it showed you a lot about how actually hard the PKs are. They are really hard. I mean, you're kind of seeing, I think my whole life I was really wrong about my thought on, wow, this has to be so easy for the guy kicking and so hard for the goalie. It's equally hard for both. Like, having seen a lot of PKs already, like in the first few games of the knockout, and then being able to listen to the broadcasters talk about it, it is super interesting to hear the strategy, how a goalie tries to get advantage over the player, or how the goalie's trying to do things to make the player overthink, how some guys don't look at the goalie, some guys do. Awesome. And listen, I still don't believe a World Cup game should be able to be decided in penalty kicks. That's just my opinion. That could be the wrong opinion, and you could eviscerate me for not understanding the sport of soccer to the depths it should be understood. But I don't think that at this stage you should be ending the most important games of these players and these countries' federations' careers on PKs. However, wow. Crazy how quickly things can change. I watched 3 posts get hit last night. I watched the goalie save a ball, but then on the save, kick it back into the net. And that ended up being the 1-goal difference for Morocco. They move on. The Netherlands upsetting, very upsetting for a historically good football nation. Finally, Brazil, 5 minutes into stoppage time, scores the go-ahead against Japan 2-1. So they will advance to the round of 16. 3 straight World Cups where Japan has been bounced in the knockout stage with a goal that comes in stoppage time. That is just heartbreaking. Just heartbreaking. Brazil moves on. Shout out to Jameis Winston and the Japanese fans. Then another bonus shout out to the Brazilian fans who joined in. We talked about this a few weeks ago. The Rome Show podcast, wherever you get your podcast, or just follow us on any of the social media sites. I put it out as a clip. the Japanese fans and the Japanese players and the whole Japanese Federation for Sports, I think, do a fantastic job of respecting the game. We've seen some videos of their fans cleaning up the stadium, how their players keep the locker room, and we've seen Jameis Winston join in. Well, after that 2-1 devastating loss yesterday at the hands of Brazil, a lot of videos of service of both sets of fans together leaving the stadium better than they found it, along with Jameis Winston. That's the type of shit you love to see. The World Cup, to quote one of my favorite radio anchors of all time, Don LaGreca, shout out Hawthorne, New Jersey. Don said yesterday on the radio, and I quote, "The World Cup is proving that the world can exist together." And it's like, yeah, you're right. It's a great point out of you. Today, Ivory Coast versus Norway, France versus Sweden, and Mexico versus Ecuador. We'll see if a second host country in Mexico can advance to the round of 16. We're going to advance to a commercial break real quick. When we come back, we got your PGA Tour and your Major League Baseball updates here on The Rome Show on a Tuesday, June 30th, 2026. Stay with us. Back after this.
What is one thing every great leader has in common? They challenge their people to not stop at the first right answer. Tighten the Lug Nuts is a leadership book that will teach you how to move past the first right answer with entertaining and detailed examples founded in real-world concepts and experiences. Accelerate towards your professional goals with Tighten the Lug Nuts, one of the best leadership books available.
Welcome back into the Rome Show here on a Tuesday, 7:15 a.m. state of New Jersey. Andrew Romanella, the Rome Show 1, Twitter, X, and Instagram. Hit that follow, youtube.com/the Romanellas. Scan the QR code top right of the screen. You can comment live on the show wherever you get it on social media. Best places to be, YouTube and Instagram. Meg writes in, the replay makes it look like a flop, but I agree with the ruling. I agree with that too, Meg. My brother-in-law gave me that perspective last night. By definition of the rule, it is contact with the goalkeeper. PKs are like shootouts in hockey, in my opinion. I agree with you. However, what happens in the Stanley Cup playoffs? There's 0 games that are decided by a shootout. That's the difference. Okay. In the regular season, you want to have games end in a shootout to save legs, 82 game season. All of that makes sense to me. Okay. But in the playoffs, if a game is tied, it's golden goal. And we will play 3 overtimes, 4 overtimes, 5 overtimes, as many overtimes as we need to play until that game is won. And to me, that's how it should be in the World Cup. I understand the soccer, like, body and athleticism and cardiovascular system that you need. And I can't even imagine trying to play soccer for 90 minutes, let alone 120 minutes, let alone 150, et cetera, et cetera. But that you could say that about any sport, especially ice hockey. So what's the solution? The solution is adjust the rules. Okay, if we get to the 90th minute, each coach has 2 more subs that they're allowed to add. If we get to the 120th minute, okay, each coach gets another sub to add. If we get to the 130th minute, we get another sub, right? Maybe we stop doing the dumb stuff where in extra time, it's not golden goal. Maybe we turn it to golden goal. That makes a whole lot more sense. You know, listen, this is the most popular sport in the world, point blank, period. So what I'm saying here is probably never, ever, ever going to change. But just looking at it from a simple sports standpoint, man, that makes a whole lot more sense to me when it comes down to the most important games of any of these guys' season. Talking about most important games of the season, a lot of people would argue the beginning of baseball season is not that. And I would say you can't win a division in the first few months of the season, but you can freaking lose one. And right now at 35-50, this is the worst start tied for in franchise history for the New York Mets through 85 games. We saw another team through 28 games, the Philadelphia Phillies, trending in that same direction. However, they fired their manager at the time and put Don Mattingly at the helm of the team. Well, Don Mattingly has since taken that 9-19 Philadelphia Phillies ball club and turned them into a 47-38 overall ball club, sitting 3.5 games back of ATL at the top of the NL East and right in the thick of it for the wild card spots. Under Don Mattingly, the Philadelphia Phillies have gone 38-19. We were talking about Carlos Mendoza yesterday, and I talk all the time about how I don't like calling for people's jobs. However, there are circumstances, especially in sports, where the job loss, unfortunately, is the only decision. And for the Mets, unless you're firing the general manager, which I also think should come next, okay, you had to let the coach go because there was just no motivation on this roster. And you see it with the Phillies. If the right guy is managing the superstars, you're going to get the right result. You got Schwarber and Harper in that locker room, and they look like they're one of the closest, tightest, most fun teams to be around. That's what needs to be happening. The team matters more than the talent. I know people don't like to hear that. Some other news and notes around the league. The Yankees continued to lose, fifth straight loss. The Jays, they ended their 6-game losing streak thanks to the New York Metropolitans. Sounds about right. Hey, the Red Sox, they won their fifth straight game. So they swept the Yankees in 4 and then continued it in Washington last night. And don't look now, but the Chicago White Sox are leading the AL Central with a 44-39 record. To put that into perspective for the people, okay, in 2024, the White Sox finished 41-121, okay, after 162 games. To this date, 245 games have been played for the Chicago White Sox. In those 245 games, they went from a 41-win team over 162 games to a 44-win team in under 85 games. That is one of the most impressive turnarounds you've seen in sport, point blank, period. One of the most impressive franchise turnarounds. Kudos to their front office for the moves and decisions they've made and for the belief in what their plan was. Because for a while, their plan looked like they should be relegated to AAA ball. But less than 2 years later, from the moment of one of the worst seasons in the history of Major League Baseball, 44-39 leading the AL Central. Victor Hovland made a huge birdie putt yesterday to be leading the Travelers in the playoff. All Scotty Scheffler had to do, world number 1, was knock down a 7-foot putt, and here's what happened. Oh, video not playing. So we will work on that for a quick second here. I'll give you the replay. Both dudes put the ball in the middle of the fairway. Beautiful shots. Both stuck it within about 12, 15 feet of the pin, with Hovland being a little bit farther than Scheffler. Hovland, he knocks down his first birdie putt to put the pressure on Scotty Scheffler, and then a putt that, for all of us amateurs out there, 0% of people could look at that putt and say, I can't believe Scotty missed that putt. You could say it because it's Scotty Scheffler, but it's a difficult putt. Here's what it looked like and sounded like yesterday.
Get in the hole! Just crept in there on the right side, and that puts more pressure on Scheffler, who made all those par savers yesterday. Misses it! And Victor Hovland has won the Travelers. And this is the first time that Victor's mother, Galinda, has seen him win in person.
How cool is that? kudos to Victor Hovland and his mom. Also, shout out to the Norwegian fans that were there, or Swedish fans. I keep forgetting. We're pumping some energy through that golf tournament. That was awesome. This year, Scotty Scheffler has earned $15.14 million. And he's only won one tournament. That was the Amex Open. He's finished second 4 times. He's finished third twice, and he's finished fourth twice. That was Victor Hovland's 8th victory on the PGA Tour, his first this season. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get the hell out of here. We'll be back tomorrow for our Hump Day edition of the Rome Show. Meg, I will leave the Yankees off the table till they win again. The Travelers was played in Cromwell, Connecticut. What a place. Andrew Romanella, the Rome Show, back tomorrow. I'll see you later. Have an electric day. Peace.
Thank you for listening.